Hey, this is Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today I wanted to revisit this topic, how to reduce your Invisalign mid-course corrections refinements. This all doesn't just go for Invisalign, of course this also goes for ClearCorrect, reducing their mid-courses, their revisions, whatever you want to call them. In other words, how do we get from A to Z correctly the first time around? Now, there seems to be a huge misconception that revisions, refinements, mid-course corrections are normal, and they're actually not normal. They're not normal at all. It is very possible to have, I can't promise you you'll never have any, because things are going to happen, right? They're going to be one-offs, but your rate should be very low. It should be 10, 20%. If your rate is above 30, 40, 50, 60%, you're doing something wrong. And I've made a ton of videos about this, so I just got to keep doing it because I think people just aren't getting the concept. So I'm using this analogy today because someone gave me this analogy and it made sense to me. So let's say we were crossing like a lake, okay, or a river or whatever, and there was stones, okay. Let's say that we could space the stones far apart and we could space the stones really close together. Would you be more likely to accidentally fall in if the stones were close together or far apart? Right? Well, you'd be most likely to accidentally fall in occasionally if the stones were far apart, right? So the closer the stones are together, the less likely you'll occasionally fall in. It's going to happen, but it's going to be less frequently, right? And I use the same analogy with aligners, okay? So let me connect the dots here. So the beauty of Invisalign Comprehensive or ClearCorrect Unlimited is that you can speed up to a point, or you can slow down the treatment plan within their own parameters. They have a lot of wiggle room within their own algorithms, okay, within their own AI. They're going to give you an attempt, but I feel like most of their attempts are lowballing. I look at these attempts and I go, very rarely do I think it's possible to do, or predictable to do what they give me on the first round in these few aligners as they give me. Sometimes, maybe less than 30% of the time, I almost always increase the number of aligners by 50, 60, 70, 80, 100%, double them. ClearCorrect, sometimes I triple them, sometimes I quadruple them. It's just like, there's no way. So the thing is that, remember, I mean, we're orthodontists, so orthodontists tend to have a way lower revision refinement rate than general dentists who do Invisalign or ClearCorrect. I mean, that's just, we know what's predictable, we know it looks right. We look at something and we call BS on it if it's not possible. I don't want my revision refinement rate to be 80%. I want it to be 0. So yes, sometimes I'm going to slow stuff down, and if the patient ends up being like crazy, you know, after a few visits, they come back for their first check-in and they get it. Like, they understand that the aligner needs to fit like a glove, like a second skin. If there's any micro gaps between the aligners and the teeth, they shouldn't progress. They need to go back where their previous aligner another week or 2 until it's fitting and try again. They need to use their chewies and try again. I don't even start an Invisalign that 1 week until it's fitting. And it might take 1, 2, 3, 4 days to get it to fit with chewies sometimes. Sometimes you got to get it seated. And then once you got it seated, then your 1 week starts. That is the key to success. And it's very similar to the analogy of the river rocks being close together, and that if you slow down the treatment plan and you have a little less movement per aligner and do more frequent aligner changes, nobody's saying it's much better to do what I'm saying than to do 2-week wear per aligner. That's really not going to do anything for you. And that's the secret sauce. It's really the secret sauce. If you start doing this, don't get so hung up on the 2-week changes, the 1-week changes, the 5-day changes, the 10-day changes. That's not what it is. It has really very little to do with it. It has to do with the fit. And, you know, there's undercuts and there's so many variables. There's osteoclast, and there's osteoblasts, and there's musculature, and there's compliance, which you might get some truth from the patient and you might not. And the patient may actually have no earthly idea how often they're popping them out of their mouth. They might say they're wearing them 22, but they're only wearing them 12. They may think they're wearing them 22, and they may lie straight to your face, but they really don't know how often they're actually popping them out. And the more that seesaw effect is happening with the aligners, and they're coming in and out and in and out and in and out, they're really not wearing them enough. So hence the benefit of the smaller and more frequent stepping stones so you don't fall in. If you have smaller steps in between each aligner, it's almost impossible to get off track as long as the patient is checking in regularly, which is why I love virtual check-ins. Of course, Invisalign has the virtual check-in app. You can also use dental monitoring. You can also use GP ortho tracking and other ones. You can create your own in-house system, whatever, do whatever you want. If you do a combination of that and having the patient check in before every aligner change, I know it's a lot of check-ins and you're going to get more emails and you're going to get more alerts. You can have someone in your practice run it. If you don't want to deal with it, then pay the extra cost for dental monitoring system and let them deal with it, because their AI will run this if you have that much volume, but you're going to pay for it. You know, it's going to be expensive. But if you don't have like a ton of patients, like hundreds, you might just create your own in-house or use GP ortho tracking or use Invisalign's virtual system, which is free as long as you opt into it and you're using on Invisalign cases. It's very convenient. So yeah, these are my tricks and tips. Okay, more stones, smaller strides. You can ask for it. All you have to do is ask for it. So what I'll do is I'll take a plan and I'll optimize it. I'll get it so I love the movements. Looks great. Looks predictable. This will happen. This is possible, you know, with the attachments we have on and the movements and everything like that. And then I'll say, you know what? I see you made this 25 aligners. Can you please take this plan and stretch it out to a 50 or 40? And then patient comes in, you know, they're freaking out. Oh my goodness, this is going to be 50 weeks. Well, I like to think most braces cases are a year to 2 years or a year to 18 months, you know? Why are you wanting to speed things up so much? Is actually not that healthy for the patient to speed things up and take such big steps. It's not healthy for their bone. It's better to have slow and low, more frequent forces than to have huge undulating swings. It's actually, that's how you get root resorption. That's how you get bone problems. That's how you get mobility. That's how you get discomfort. It's better. Now, of course, the aligner companies don't like anything that I'm saying, you know, even though you'd think that they would, because it's actually making more success and it's making less revisions, refinements, mid-course corrections, which saves them money, and the patients are going to be happy and the doctors are going to be happier. So I consider all this a win, but it's also going to cost them more off the bat, because we're taking a plan where the average doctor has said okay to 20 and I'm saying make it a 40, which is going to cost more overhead for them, right? Because it's unlimited. But actually, my doctors that do this, they have way less revisions, refinements. If you pair it, the key is you have to pair it with more virtual check-ins. No patient is going to come into the office every 3 aligners during COVID. It's just not going to happen. So you're going to have to create virtual. You have to start doing it. It's out there. People are using it. The doctors that are using it are successful. If you personally as a doctor don't want to run it, then have someone in your team run it and have them grab you to look at the, you know, the emails when they come in, if that's how you're running it with HIPAA compliant email or whatever, the alerts, the dashboard, whatever you're using. But you have to look at it and you have to give them the go, no go, red light, green light. Yes, you can change, and no, you can't change. So anyways, hopefully this was helpful. I think once you start to get this, it'll blow your mind. It'll totally transform any frustration that you have with your aligner treatments. But I think the biggest mistake most doctors make is that they just like, oh, here's 5 trays, wear them each for a week, I'll see you in 5 weeks. Oh no, that's not gonna work. You might have one patient that gets it, you know, or just gets lucky, but you're gonna have 4 for every one that are gonna go off track. And it's gonna end up being so much more hassle, especially if you don't have a scanner. It's like 1,000 times worse. So time to get a scanner. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. Have a good day. And of course, go to StraightSmileSolutions.com and ask us any questions if you have them. All right, thank you.